casual attire, how and when to wear it. And I have my co-hostess, Sharon Grace. Sharon is a senior recruiter with the Duffy Group. So Sharon, welcome.
Thanks, Carla.
It's always a joy to have you.
Yes. Yep. I know we've been excited about this one.
Yes, we've been talking about this for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, Sharon, I'd start with just giving my definition of business casual attire, and then I'm going to turn it over to you and see what you would add. But I think just to get everybody on the same page, what is business casual attire? So the way I would define it is to say it is a more relaxed version of a company's current dress code that is worn usually on specified date, times, or events. Do you think that that's a pretty close definition? And what would you add?
Yeah, I think so. I know, in my mind, I think there's going to be a word that we're going to say often here is the word comfortable. And it has many meanings behind that, but I can't help myself. So I think how I remember this transition of the business casual is just to be that one day of a little bit more relaxed, comfortable, appropriate, professional.
Yes. Absolutely. And you and I always kind of laugh at that word comfortable because we kind of, as far as dress, but we will talk about that because we are going to talk about fit. But you had shared an interesting fact this morning that business casual attire really came to the forefront in the workplace around the late 1990s, early 2000s. And I, remember that. And for a lot of companies, it was Friday, which was smart, right? So you're kind of in the weekend mode. But I remember working in a corporate atmosphere, how much it affected men in the office because they typically had to wear suits, Monday through Friday. And so Friday was a day where they didn't have to put on the sport coat. They could lose the tie. And for the women, we always noticed that we felt like it really affected them more so than us.
Yes. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Thinking back about that. Yeah, right.
Because, women, we could fudge a little bit and get away with things, but the guys had it worse.
That's right. Right. Except for those that were already. I kind of remembered it. And when I was looking this up, it was a good reminder where the technology industry. And so in Silicon Valley, which was really in the 80s, mid to, late 80s, my father worked in technology, one of the big tech at that time, and manufacturing. So when I read that, it took me back to, I guess he didn't really wear suits often, only so the opposite. So for special meetings or events, but it was more of the casual, that khaki pant. I don't know when that first came out. I know, and polos. And then we all know of Steve Jobs with the black turtleneck. And then as things really evolved there, and then the hoodie, we all, know that with Mark Zuckerberg, but that's long gone. Thank goodness. But those were memorable moments. So there were probably areas where men were a little confused on what is appropriate and what to do.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the pandemic, because of course the pandemic changed so many things for so many people. But as far as work, so many of us were sent home. And if you're working in a more professional atmosphere, to go home was like, wow, this is kind of fun. And then after the pandemic, some people stayed home. Some people now work a hybrid schedule, but some people are fully back in the office. So this is really kind of a topic I want you to to drive, because I know you deal with this a lot in what you do. So how has the pandemic changed business casual attire, and how are you working with your clientele for that?
Yeah, it's been very interesting. So it was interesting looking back at that time. I can't believe how long ago that it's been now, but we're still talking about it. Is that it was such a big change overnight, just flipping the switch. For me, my colleagues, the firm I work for, we were already working remotely because we work nationally. So we didn't have that transition for that. And however, once then Zoom started, now we all have to learn that we're at home, but we're still communicating. So I'd say that's where a lot of that transition, the hiccups, came into play. So I think it gave people that, a pass to stay in your pajamas for the day. And I really think that that's how that started.
Mm-hmm.
And then our C word, the comfortable, came in. So then if they got out of their pajamas, but the pajamas feel good, and this was in March, so it was still relatively cold in most places. So I get that. So now maybe you're still keeping your, flannel and comfortable pants on, or then we started working out more. And then the workout clothes stay on. So the sweatshirts, the hoodie, your workout leggings. But then once we figured out how to do virtual meetings, sometimes people forgot or didn't think needed to change, because maybe it was a story that a lot of people told in their head that, well, I work from home. It's okay that I'm casual. It's expected. It's common. We're all doing this. And it seemed like that it was. So I don't know who, how, where, when it started, but yes, it was a trend. And then I think we started hearing about stories of people when they would get up and you'd see a mismatch, of outfits. And then that was funny. But then I think, as time went on towards the end of the year now, I think now we were all graduating. Okay. Now they say calling it into high school and getting a better understanding about being prepared for sometimes these meetings just happen. And then in the next year, then we were feeling like we're having too many of these virtual meetings. But I still think that the casual and what do you call presentable, appropriate, is still missed in the translation. There's still some blurred lines with that. And I think that we can maybe talk about that depending on the type of company, the industries, that you're in. But I think, we both believe this, Carla, is you always want to put your best foot forward. You always want to make it appear that you put somewhat of an effort into what you're wearing. And things do happen at a last minute. Like, I'm a jacket person. Okay. So throw that on. If you have a comfortable shirt, I'm in, a business attire, a business casual attire look. That's an easy fix, right?
It really is. And, I think the hardest part, Sharon, was the mental shift in work from home, because think of the leading word, work from home. I think we all kind of picked up on the last word of home. So we didn't think of it as working from home. We were thinking of being at home, where we're comfortable, we're happy, we can be casual. And I feel like we did get away from the idea that we're still at work. It's a virtual office, it's a home office, but we are working and we are still expected to be presentable. And, something you said that I thought was great is when we were talking about people being in their pajamas. Well, typically if you're in your pajamas, I don't know that you fixed your hair. Hopefully you brushed your teeth. But I say that because I really believe it was our whole entire image that was being affected, not just what we were wearing. So I do want to go into that now because you and I had talked about what is and is not appropriate for business casual attire. And I think, Sharon, if we can give some very specific examples, that would be helpful. So the first thing that I will recommend that I think is appropriate for business casual attire, if you're going to wear denim, go for a dark wash. Stay away from washes that are very light. They might look bleached. You don't want to wear anything that's torn, ripped, distressed, and that is stylish. But remember, you are working from home. So to choose denim, I would go with a dark wash. I love what you said. You're a jacket girl. I've got one on too. So a simple jacket can really make that t-shirt just a bump up a little bit more business casual than just casual. So Sharon, what are some things that come to mind for you for do's and don'ts with business casual attire?
Yeah, exactly. I know. Great point about the denim. Because I'm talking back about the history. Remember when it started with the jeans, a denim Friday. And so we started there, but now there are more options for denim. Summer, I like, white. Not everyone will wear white denim. I think that that's fine, and a colored jacket. And you already addressed, the no rips and no, not faded. Like I'm in gray, so I actually have gray jeans on. So all one color. You could still be trendy and stylish, but yet appropriate. So any comfortable pant. Again, I use the comfortable that fits well, that's not sloppy. So not joggers, track pants. So not now a looser fitting workout pant. I don't think so. Okay.
I would agree.
Business casual. Yeah.
Yes.
No. Yep.
So, and remember, the term is business casual.
That's right.
It's not casual. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're looking for that outfit to wear on business casual day, remember it's still business. You're still at work.
Yeah. We're getting paid. One thing,
go ahead, Sharon.
We're getting paid.
That's right.
Right.
And remember, your boss still shows up to work every day. So they still have to look at you and see you. And let me offer this as well. If you ever are in a situation where you're not sure if you should wear something, always check with HR and your boss. If you're just not sure, ask. And a very wise person told me decades ago, there's a simple test. If you look at something and say, I wonder if I can wear that to work, the answer is probably no. If you have to think about it, you probably shouldn't do it. And I've always taken that with me and remembered it. So it's just a good rule of thumb. If you can pick that out of your closet and say, yeah, I'm wearing this tomorrow, you're probably pretty safe. If you have to second guess, put it to the side and ask somebody at work if that item is appropriate.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to remember that one. I like that, Carla. I may steal that.
Please do. Please do. Yes. But Sharon, I'm going to ask you really to take this question and talk about it. What industries and roles are most likely to have business casual attire? And how do you prep your clientele as far as what to wear to work or to that interview?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Different level when we're interviewing. And so where do I start? First of all, for industries, I'll say I mentioned tech. So could be tech manufacturing, software tends to still be more on that casual side, but I really do think that the hoodies are long gone. And I think for the most part, guys are wearing a button-down shirt, polo, something presentable, and even for jeans, they are in good condition and fit. And I know we'll go into that as well. I'd say the medical profession, so medical offices, obviously some have uniforms and so forth. But if you're on the administrative side, this is a step up from a casual. If it's a business casual, maybe on a day-to-day, days where you are dressing in more of that professional attire. So if you're in administration, you're in leadership, you're in meetings and meeting with people. So putting your best foot forward all day, every day. Now, nonprofit is an area, it's an industry that I do work a lot in. They do, for the most part, tend to be more on the casual side. However, there are some very large organizations that are professional. So I think that some industries may have that assumption, and I understand why. If you are working with a recruiter, if you're a candidate, if you're a job seeker at the moment, really put an effort into your attire. And I think we talked about this the last time, have outfits planned out in advance. If you are working with a recruiter, get some insight from them as to what is the culture like. You may even get that as a tip internally if they're helping you prepare for the interview as well. I have a couple recent examples here. One was a conversation that I had, and actually was with a male in a leadership role that is interviewing for a nonprofit organization that is on the more casual but professional casual. The person knows, that he's interviewing and knows to come in a suit, knew that on his own. And then just on his own, just speaking with him recently, just said, just to let you know, he said, my attire, and he volunteered this, and I thought it was wonderful, is a business casual plus. And I had not heard that term before, Carla, but I really liked it. So he's not wearing a suit every day, but just going that extra step of just making sure the fit is there, matching correctly, all the buttons in place. He had a funny story that he shared with me, and this is a key finance person, that his staff was at an event and they saw another person who was the main representative of their finance speaking, or maybe was sitting at a table at this event, and just had a really unpolished look, a little disheveled, and had a little tear in the shirt and just wrinkled. And so the staff the next day told them of that story and said, we don't have to worry about that with you because you're so well put together all the time. And this person thought, wow, he says, this is the leader in a finance, area. You want this person to, it shows who you are and what you do, that you're going to trust this person. So they're not looking good. And so it was very interesting. And there were probably different generations that were involved in this one example alone. Yeah. And then I had another one that was volunteering with the organization prior to the interview and did not change the casual attire before going to the interview. And so I think just thought, well, they know that I'm there volunteering and it's nonprofit, it's casual, it would be okay. Well, again, this was another leadership role. No, find the time to change before. And it's all working out for that person. We heard about it, mentioned it to the person. They were very appreciative that we said something. And then they were back on the right track for the rest of the interview process the next time that they were there interviewing. And so It's all good stories. Yeah.
Yes. And Sharon, I'm glad you brought that up because I actually had this happen. I was speaking with an executive director of a nonprofit, and his comment was, I feel uncomfortable dressing nicely because I don't want it to look like I'm kind of overstepping, if you will, in this industry. I feel like I need to be casual because this is a nonprofit. I would feel uncomfortable dressing up and representing this organization too professionally and too nicely. So, have you ever had that? And if so, how did you handle it?
Yeah, I know that is what people think of. Yeah, that they don't want to draw too much attention to themselves. And yeah, no, because here, the ones that are interviewing you are going to show up looking nice too. Yeah. So I think, yeah, hopefully if you're working with a recruiter, they can help guide you. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So my remark was very much the same
Yeah.
as yours.
Yes.
But you touched on something that you and I both feel so strongly about. And it's not even just for business casual, but we talk about fit.
Yeah.
And I know you and I want to spend a little time on this. And I want to be specific, Sharon, when I say this and give specific examples, because there are a lot of people that think, hey, this fits, but what is fit?
Right.
So, for an example, in tops, I have a blazer on right now. It has shoulder seams. Shoulder seams should sit right there at the shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
If this seam were hanging too far over, it could be too big.
Mm-hmm.
If it's sitting up too high and it's a little uncomfortable, it's probably too small. When you think about your top, or for a woman, if it's a dress, in the torso area, it needs to not have too much fabric. Now, I know some pieces are made what we call kind of boxy, so it goes straight down, but be careful about having too much fabric because it can look too big or sloppy. And just the reverse, if you're wearing a top that's too tight,
Mm-hmm.
then obviously it's too small and that can look very unprofessional. I have a lot of women customers who are full or busted. So that can be a challenge with a button up shirt. There's gapping, there's pulling. There are tricks for that. It can be altered, but if that's happening, that's just not the right top. As far as the waistline, make sure your waistline is comfortable. You should be able to get your thumb in between the waistline of your pants and your stomach comfortably. If it's too tight, you are going to feel uncomfortable. And quite honestly, it's just not healthy to have a waistband that is too tight. You also don't want it too big. I've seen people that are going through a weight loss or weight gain process. And of course, it's very expensive to replace your entire wardrobe at every stage. So that, they might wear pants that are a little too big, but pull that belt a little tighter. That can only work for so long.
Right.
The last thing I want to talk about fit, Sharon, before I turn it over to you, is pant length. And this is challenging for women because let's be honest, fashion right now is all across the board as far as pant length, right? We go from a capri, which hits below the knee, to a crop, an ankle, a full length. So look at that garment and see what it is intended to do. If it's an ankle length pant, and let's say you're petite and it's a full length on you, that's okay. That could work. But be careful about the opposite, taking an ankle and trying to make it a crop. Your full length pants should hit at least the top of your shoe. You also don't want to wear pants that are too long. And right now, the style is really flare legs, wider leg pants. And I see a lot of people wearing them and they drag the floor. That's too long. That's not a good fit. So I just wanted to throw those out because these are simple basics that for folks that are watching this and saying, hey, I'm not really sure if it fits. Those are some examples I would give you. But Sharon, please talk a little bit about fit as well.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right on the fit. So, and I think I'm going to say the comfortable word again. And I think, talked about some of this the last time, is for the weight fluctuations and just of the being from home. And if you're still at home and just now starting to venture out to events, networking events, the more that you do it and really look around the room, and see, there's still a mixed bag of things. I'm out there more myself too. And I'm actually very hopeful. I'm seeing some good things lately. However, I think that for the weight fluctuation is probably the biggest thing, where you just make an assumption that you need to go bigger to cover up. And it's getting back to that fit where it's not serving the purpose. And the same for the opposite of the reverse of losing the weight. So you want to be able to, like with a jacket, can you reach out comfortably and shake someone's hand? Are you able to sit up and down? Even dress style and length.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you're going to be sitting a lot, what is the length of your dress and how comfortable are you? Maybe try a different silhouette. And I like when I'm sitting more of a flare versus a sheath, which I love a good sheath dress. A-lines, I think, have made a comeback as well. So skirts.
Yes, I totally agree. And along with silhouette, look at fabric.
Yeah.
Companies nowadays are making such beautiful, stretchy fabrics that are still very appropriate for work. So I am a big fan, because like you said, you're sitting, you're standing, you're moving, you can still be comfortable, right? Appropriately comfortable. Sharon, let's take a second to see if there are any questions. Why don't you take this first one?
Okay. What are your thoughts on having a signature look about you? Something you do that sets you apart. Thoughts on how to do that in a business casual. Okay. Yeah, I feel like this one was meant just for me. All right. So as you can see, I've got my cute little ballerinas behind me. So I do ballet. And although I was going to wear something in my ballet pink today for my business casual, at the last minute I changed. And it's, I think, color, you see probably the smile on my face, got bigger. I actually have a denim jacket that's cute, and it's in my ballet pink color. So I would wear something like that. That is mine, and it goes with my glasses. So yes, I think about it's fit first, then color. I spoke about being at a social event. Just assume that you might get on camera for a selfie that you're doing, of something that you want to take a picture with, or with people. So think about, how will you look in that photo? Because we never know where it's going to end up on all the different social media platforms. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I could, I'd wear a tutu or a ballet skirt, but I don't usually do that.
Right. Then we'd be pulling you up here to be an example. Okay. Michael says, right, the little black box.
That's right.
How can fashion-forward individuals leverage the power of fashion technology, such as virtual fitting rooms and augmented reality, to enhance their business casual shopping experience? It's funny, Michael, you asked that, because last week I just sent an email to customers telling them I just filled your virtual fitting room. So thank you, for understanding that style can be done both in person and virtually. I love this question and I love this idea. You can also, like, I work with customers through FaceTime, Zoom calls, very much like what Sharon and I are doing now. So understand technology can really work to your advantage when working with a stylist, somebody like Sharon, who's really going to help you put together a wardrobe that makes sense. For some people, really working that way is better for them. I get it from a lot of people that, honestly, I hate to say it, I hate to, keep bringing up the P word, the pandemic, but I do have customers that still don't really like to get out very much. So the virtual experience is wonderful. I happen to have, as you can see behind me, styles and clothing, apparel, accessories here in my style studio. So it's very easy for me to put looks together and share them with clients. I can put together a digital web page for my customers and send them a link. And it's really that simple, just a tap, and they can see a wardrobe that I've put together for them. So I love that, Michael. Thanks for introducing that idea.
That's good.
Let's see, maybe we have one last bit of, yes, a little bit of time. So Sharon, talk about where people can find you on social media. So for the folks that are watching that say, hey, I've got some questions for Sharon, how do they get in touch with you?
Yes, LinkedIn. That's my main social media platform would be LinkedIn. So Sharon Grace, and the firm I'm with is Duffy Group. Yes.
And I will share mine as well. I'm Carla Biasi, personal stylist. You can also find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram and TikTok under CB Style. So if you have questions for Sharon or myself, please don't hesitate to reach out. We would love for you to follow us on our social media. And any closing thoughts, Sharon?
Yeah, this was fun. We seem to go by really fast and run out of time. But we would love to hear thoughts that our viewers have today, and any stories that you'd like to share with us, especially if there's something in the professional and interviewing, helpful tips. That love to hear from you. So please reach out.
Absolutely. Yes. And we just want to thank you all for tuning in today. That's what makes our executive table talk so much fun, is the interaction. And thank you, Michael, and everybody else who asked a question. We love it. Keep them coming. So hopefully we'll have another stylist table talk coming up soon. But until then, everybody, thank you so much and stay stylish.
Thank you.